Hello, my name is Warren Sims, and today we'll be hitting another case study from Tom O'Haver's Pragmatic Introduction to Signal Processing. I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas, and I hope you all have a very wonderful New Year's. Now let's begin. Okay, let me hop over here. The case study we'll be discussing today is Case Study F, a harmonic analysis of the Doppler effect. The file we're analyzing today is called Horn Go By, which is simply a car horn as it approaches and leaves an individual. Here, take a listen. As the car horn is approaching, the frequency is increasing due to the decrease in wavelength. Likewise, as the car is going further away from the individual, the frequency is decreasing due to an increase in wavelength. Take another listen, you can really hear it. This is due, in fact, to the Doppler effect. The Doppler effect, like I just explained, is the change in frequency of a wave in relation to an observer who is moving relative to the wave source. Like I previously stated, this is the fact that as the car is approaching and then passes the individual, the wavelength frequency undergoes some changes, increasing as it approaches the individual and then decreasing as it passes onward. We can analyze this data using commands in MATLAB similar, actually they're the same as the ones on my previous video, and if you haven't checked it out, please go take a look because it's very interesting as well. We can use iSignal and iPeak to further analyze this data and to clean it up. So enough talking about that. Let's actually hop over in MATLAB and take a look at it. Okay, so first thing off, I had to read the actual file to get it put in, which I've already had all this data put in for a while now. So then once we get the data in that shape, we can, just for ease, I labeled it Doppler. Since it's displaying the Doppler effect, I've included a value of t ranging from, sorry, I've had a lot of tries today. Well, anyways, it's ranging from a certain time span of the data that we'll be analyzing over. And I then simply just plot it using iSignal. Now this iSignal function is extremely useful for analyzing single spectrums of data and just in great detail. Very useful. You can still play your file from the figure, and it changes depending on which portion of the figure you play it from. Like once you go way out here to the right, it gets much higher and silent. While if you're in this deep throaty part of the data, it comes out much louder. Now about zooming in, now we're doing a spectrum shift using Shift S. We can go in and view the peaks in the frequency. Now, excuse me because I may be incorrect, but I believe to my memory, this peak right here would be your fundamental frequency, which we can check in just a minute. Fundamental frequency, which corresponds to one of these values over here. I believe it would be this one, which would be the secondary frequency to that value. This will be your secondary frequency, and this will be the value corresponding to it. Car horns and train horns each have multiple sets of multiple sets of frequencies that correspond with each other. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. Now, I'll hop back out here, And there's just so many different ways you can use this to just better analyze your data and get even better results. It's just a very useful tool that's really neat to play around with. Okay, let's hop back over here. Okay, like I previously stated, this is what I was just talking about. Our fundamental frequency near 200 right here. You would think that this large peak would be your fundamental frequency, but not actually. Your fundamental frequency is the lowest note of the horn, and it's the one you're starting with. So that would be your fundamental frequency. This one around 400, I believe, is its second harmonic, excuse me. That's what I meant to say earlier, was its second harmonic. The group near 250 right here, the larger one like we saw in the previous set of data, is the fundamental frequency of the next higher note of the horn, with this large value near 500 being its harmonic. Very, very interesting. Now, like I previously stated, we can use iPeak to even iPeak and peak fit, which is actually the same function. We can use it to analyze it and to smooth out these curves where we'll get a less of a choppy figure and a more smooth curve to allow for better data analysis, also known as the bootstrap method. Now, if we hop over here, I've already discussed to you all about iSignal, and it's about the sensitivity of the human ear plays a big factor in this due to the fact that you can actually hear these changes in frequency even better than you can witness it on the graph. Your ear is so sensitive in its frequency range that it can pick up at these just slight changes. It's really fascinating. And here's that graph from earlier. A little more on the fundamental frequency, and you all can look into this more. There's plenty of links on that Pragmatic introduction to where you can go into more depth, and I can ramble on and on about this, but I don't want this video to run on forever. Okay. A very useful function that I came into contact with during all this would be the audio read function. Now, if you want to import a sound file from like outside MATLAB that's not one of your pre-programmed ones, and I'm going to show you a few of these that I found that were pretty neat, you can use the audio read function if it's in a I believe it's called a wave file, and you can get it to read it and convert the sound file into data that MATLAB can read. So another very interesting way to access that. This was about save paths. And if anybody ends up having any questions, you can just contact me. I'll probably end up leaving my email in the video link, or you can just reach out to me through the contacts and I can explain a little more if anybody has any questions. Ways to add paths to folders. I experienced some trouble trying to get a sound file over that I'm going to play for you all in a little bit. And I by no means take any credit for the sound file I'm fixing to play. Okay. I think that's enough on that. So I'm going to hop back over to MATLAB and we'll take a listen to a few of these other sounds and see what you all think about them. Okay. Let's try one. This one, yeah. Train horn, it's a built-in sound. I believe it's called a train. You can just call it by saying load train and then do a sound with it. FS2 is a gong, and you can kind of hear this resonance. This would honestly be a very interesting one to take a look at as well. I know I'm probably running close on time right now, so I'll hold off on analyzing it this time. But if I end up making another video on down the road, we can take a look at the different wavelengths and kind of play around with it as well. I believe it'd be a real fun one to take a look at. These were just some quick ones that I saved. Handles how and you it's a clear sound and it'll stop your sound. This saved me big time because I had had a rough time of trying to stop these sounds. I tried everything under the moon to get them to stop. So let's move on a little bit more and try this one. That's laughter. There's just some funny built-in features that I found during my searching through all of this. Y5, I believe, will just be the car horn. And now Y6 is a very special thing. This is a song featured in Transformers: Age of Extinction. It's a song titled Tessa by Steve Jablaski. I hope I didn't butcher that name. I just think it's a very beautiful piece of music, and I've done a lot of study into it. And I just thought it's a really cool way that you can listen to this. And the way MATLAB works, if you don't clear a sound, you can layer sounds and get a real cool effect. If you let that play for a little bit, you come in with one and on 2 times the sound, 2 times you know, you get a really neat kind of overlayery, really nice song. And the further it gets developed into it, the more beautiful it gets. If I timed it right, it really sounded amazing. It's just a very beautiful piece of music. It's a really fun case study to take a look at. I believe that's going to be all I've got for today. Switch back over here to my camera. I'd like to thank you all for taking time to stop and watch my video. I really appreciate it. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and hope you all have a very happy New Year. Take care.